Today, Kevin and I are going to be trying 3 different brands of strawberry cake mixes to see which one has the best flavor. So we're going to be trying these cakes, just the cake, not with frosting, because we want to be able to judge just the cake all by itself. So we have the Betty Crocker strawberry. This is Betty Crocker Delight Super Moist Strawberry Cake Mix. It was $1.99 at Meijer. This was the most expensive cake mix. And then we have the Duncan Hines Signature Perfectly Moist Strawberry Supreme, and it was $1.89 at Meijer. And then lastly, we have the Pillsbury Moist Supreme Strawberry, and it was $1.49. So it was the cheapest. And it actually, the Pillsbury is 15.25 ounces. The Duncan Hines is 15.25 ounces. The most expensive, the Betty Crocker, is only 13.25. So you're getting less Betty Crocker and you're paying more for the name. But maybe it'll be worth it in the end when we try them. For all 3 of these mixes, you need 3 eggs. So we have the 3 eggs already broken out in 3 separate bowls. You also need 1 cup of water for each one. So I have a cup of water in each one of these. The oil is different. The Betty Crocker only requires a 1/3 cup of oil. So that's the most expensive one, the Betty Crocker. The other 2, the Duncan Hines and the Pillsbury, take a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And so I haven't measured that out yet because I will use the same measuring cup to measure out the Duncan Hines and the Pillsbury.
Makes sense because it's a smaller box too.
It's a smaller box, you're right. So it's a smaller box, so it needs less oil. So what you are gonna see me do, I will probably speed this up, but you're gonna see me make the mixes and then put them in the pan. So I'm gonna show you, we're gonna make 3, for the 3 mixes, we're gonna have 3 9-inch pans. You can do a 13 by 9, 2 8-inch rounds, 2 9-inch rounds, a bundt pan, or you can make 22 cupcakes. So I have a 9-inch pan, and I sprayed it. I'm using one of these silicone mats in the bottom, and then I sprayed it with vegetable oil. But you will see me take the mix out, put the eggs, oil, mix them together, and put them in the pans. And I'm going to do that 3 times, and then I'll come back at the end once that's done, and I'll tell you how long they need to bake. Cake mixes together, and you can see there's some slight differences in color. This is like a really bright pink. Pepto-Bismol, yes, I like that pink. And then we have a darker strawberry color, and then this one's kind of right in the middle. But the times are a little different on each one of these. Now these are 9-inch round pans. So the Betty Crocker says between 22 and 27 minutes. Duncan Hines says between 23 and 28 minutes. Pillsbury's a long time. Pillsbury says between 29 and 33 minutes. So this is the longest cooking time. But since the Betty Crocker has the shortest time at 22 minutes, I'm gonna set my timer for 22 minutes, and then I'm going to go from there. I always adjust the time and see, and then I'll let you know how long they took to bake. But I'm gonna start checking each one of these at 22 minutes, and then I'll let you know the differences in time. Some funny information for you. I set the timer for 22 minutes, and they're all ready at 22 minutes. We stuck a toothpick in them. The toothpick came out clean. If we had left this one in for 29 minutes, it would have been way too overbaked. So I don't know what they're thinking with that time. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. But anyway, Ours were all finished at 22 minutes, and now we're gonna let them cool off a little bit before we take them out and give them a try. Our cakes have cooled, so now I should be able to just, yeah, flip it out like this onto the plate, just like that. Same thing, Duncan Hines. Okay, and then the Pillsbury. Kind of just slap it together there. So I am going to cut these. This one says 9 servings in the package, the Betty Crocker.
Yeah, good luck cutting that.
I know, into 9. Well, this is how I'm gonna do it. Okay, so that's how I'll do it like that, so you can see the pink on the inside. Okay, and now the Duncan Hines says it is 10 pieces. Okay, and then there's that. It is very pink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the Pillsbury is 10 as well.
Can you put those closer together so I can see them next to each other?
Yeah, and you can see which one's the fluffiest. So to me, it looks like the fluffiest is the Pillsbury, but right after that is the Betty Crocker. The densest looks like the Duncan Hines. The pinkest, the darkest, is probably the Duncan Hines. There's Duncan Hines, and then Pillsbury's pretty pink as well, but the Duncan Hines is still darker, and then the lightest is the Betty Crocker, and it's very light. Do you want to compare the calories or the fat or anything like that?
Yeah, the only bad thing is one of them was less.
One of them's less, yeah.
Because it's smaller cake.
The Betty Crocker is a smaller cake. You have to keep that in mind. So it's saying, do we want to do as prepared? Because they don't know how big or small your eggs are. They don't know the old. So why don't we do just the mix is 160 calories for the Betty Crocker.
How many grams?
42.
Okay, mine are 43 grams, and mine is the Duncan Hines is 170, and the Pillsbury is 160.
For the same amount of grams.
Yeah, same
okay.
So
the
43 grams.
Fat is 1 gram. Total fat 1 gram.
2 grams and 2 grams for both of mine.
Cholesterol is 0.
0 and 0. Yeah.
The sodium is 320 milligrams.
You're getting, I can't even see these, they're so small.
Okay, so the sodium is 320 on the Betty Crocker, it is 360 on the Duncan Hines, and it is 360 on the Pillsbury. The carbs is 37 grams for the the Betty Crocker. The carbs is 36 for the Duncan Hines and 35 for the Pillsbury. And lastly, we have 2 grams of protein in the Betty Crocker, 1 gram in the Duncan Hines, and 1 gram in the Pillsbury. So this Betty Crocker is made by General Mills in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Duncan Hines is made by ConAgra in Chicago, Illinois. And the Pillsbury is distributed by Hometown Food Company in Madison, Chicago. Okay, so we're going to try the most expensive first. Or do you want to try the cheapest first?
No.
Okay, most expensive first.
Go ahead. I was just looking
Betty
at
Crocker.
It's funny how the Betty Crocker is literally, 30, 40, 45, 40 grams less.
And you're paying more.
But it's also, when you look at the cooked, the calorie wise, it's the same size. But it's only 9 servings instead of 10. So I guess it ends up being balanced out. That's okay flavor. I like the texture. It's a nice fluffy.
Yes, it's a nice fluffy texture. It does taste like strawberry. It's light.
Very light.
It's light on the strawberry, but these other ones might be as well. Because normally you're putting strawberry frosting on the strawberry cake.
Right. Yeah, and that's why we didn't do frosting, is because if we do frosting on these, all you're going to taste is frosting.
Yes, you're not going to be able to taste the cake at all. Right. That's why we wanted to do it like
Then it would be a comparison of frosting instead of cakes.
Yes, and so Kevin was like, let's just buy the cake and compare the cake. And I agree with that. Okay, so...
That's good, but I tell you what, it's almost like, it's just barely strawberry. If you didn't know it was strawberry, I don't know that you would necessarily say, oh, that's strawberry.
This is the Duncan Hines, and it's the darkest, and this was the densest.
When you were cutting it, it looked like it was more tough, like rubbery almost to cut. I tell you what, you would not want to make these in a bundt pan and just do a regular glaze on them, because you would never know they were strawberry.
No, because
it's not enough flavor.
No, it's not enough flavor to just put a glaze over. It's going to be pretty and pink, but I think, honestly, I think that Duncan Hines has less strawberry flavor than the Betty Crocker.
Yeah, I mean, it's not saying much.
I think the Betty Crocker does have more strawberry flavor.
Not a lot, but more than the Duncan Hines.
The texture of this is more like a Twinkie or something.
It's very rubbery. Spongy.
Spongy, yeah, it's very spongy, the Duncan Hines. Okay, the Pillsbury, you want to take the first part? Okay.
That one definitely has more flavor. I don't necessarily know if it's a good flavor or not.
It's amazing to taste these, how I think we've convinced ourselves since we were kids that these really taste like strawberry.
But in reality, you're just tasting frosting.
But I think you're mainly just tasting the frosting, yes.
The Pillsbury for sure has more flavor.
Yes, and I do like the flavor of it.
It's very artificial, but...
You think so?
Yeah.
See, it didn't bother me.
No, it doesn't bother me at all, but you can tell it's almost candy-like.
That's probably why I like it.
Yeah, it's almost like a strawberry, like those little, like the clear glass, not clear, but they're red, but they're like glassy looking. They're not like solid red. They're kind of clear candy. That's what that kind of tastes like, is those little strawberries, candies.
I do like the texture of the Pillsbury, and I do like the flavor.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see what your ranking is and what you think, because I have mine, and I'm surprised.
It depends on what you're going for. Well, no, I think my last place is going to be the Duncan Hines.
Well, yes, mine too.
Because it didn't have a great texture, and it didn't have really any flavor at all.
I don't think it's a bad cake. I think if you buy this cake and you put some frosting on it, you're going to like it. You're going to eat it. I would eat it. I mean, no problem. I would eat this. So, but out of these three, I think we're looking for other things. We're looking for texture, flavor, everything. And so this Duncan Hines would be last place.
This one,
this is where it gets interesting for me, is to see which one you pick.
Well, it just depends on. I really do like the texture. I like the Pillsbury one, but it is that artificial flavor. Hold on, let me take one more bite of this, because I know that.
I know. I'm just like eating a lot of cake, but I mean that's what you have to do. This is nice without frosting though, because you could just pick it up.
Not that you're gonna get a lot of strawberry flavor out of it. I think I'd pick the Pillsbury just because it has more flavor, if you're eating it by itself. Now, if I was eating it with frosting, I wouldn't want that really kind of candy artificial flavor. If I was making a bundt cake, I would pick the Pillsbury, because you're going to add sweetness and stuff, a glaze and stuff on it. I would probably get this one. If I'm making a regular cake with frosting, I would do the Betty Crocker one.
I tell you what, there's a big difference in color.
Yeah.
I like the color of the Pillsbury.
So which one are you going for?
I'm going to go for the Betty Crocker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for the Betty Crocker, but I mean, it's like splitting hairs. Now, there's clear differences between the two.
Like I said, if you're looking for actual more flavor, the Pillsbury has more flavor.
The Pillsbury has more flavor. It does. But I think you are right when you say this has a more natural flavor, but it's a lighter flavor.
It's very light.
So it's more natural, but it's lighter. The Pillsbury's a little bit stronger, but it's not as natural. I do like the unnatural color, the pink. But for the money, you are going from, the Betty Crocker was $1.99. You're going from $2. The Pillsbury's only $1.49, so you can say 50 cents. And that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but if you're buying 20 things at the grocery store and you can save 50 cents a piece on those 20 things, that's money that you're saving, you know? So it does add up. Little things add up.
If you're taking your calculator to the store like we used to do, 50 cents makes a difference.
Yeah, and sometimes we had to put things back on the shelf over 50 cents. So to us, that would make a difference. So I would buy either one of these, but
especially
honestly,
if you're putting frosting on.
You're getting more cake. You're getting more cake out of the Pillsbury. So even though I like the Betty Crocker, I would probably just go with the Pillsbury too. Yeah, I mean, truly, I think the Pillsbury's a better buy overall.
Yeah, especially when you factor in the cost.
When you factor in the cost,
the
the size, everything, and it does taste good. It does have a good flavor. It's just more of a candy flavor, like you said.
But honestly, if you're throwing frosting on it,
then it doesn't matter anyway.
It
doesn't matter. So I would just go with the Pillsbury.
I would too, because I didn't think about the cost and stuff. Because I'd said Betty Crocker, if you're just putting frosting on, I'd go for that one. I think you're right. Once you factor in cost and size and all that stuff, I think I would just go with the Pillsbury as well.
And that was at Meijer. So Walmart, it may be even cheaper.
They might be the same price at Walmart. You just never know.
Yeah, you don't. So now if you could get them for the same price,
I would still get the Pillsbury because I think
you're getting more cake,
and it's a little fluffier texture too.
So so the Pillsbury's the winner in this one. So this has been interesting. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll have pictures of each one of these for you at the end, and thanks for watching.